Morning note. My name is Carlos Garcia, founder and CEO of Gar Capital. It is Thursday, July 25th, 2024. Glad to be with you this morning and every morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here on our YouTube channel. If this is your first time here or finding us on YouTube, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Really do appreciate the support. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. That starts with you. So let's go and get started. Dow futures are up 47 points after yesterday's big flush across the board. Nasdaq is up 15 points after that cascade yesterday. Worst day since October of 2022, which was the bottom of the bear market that we had, the most recent one in 2022. S&P 500 futures are flat. Russell is up 0.51%. 10-year Treasury yields 4.241%. Dollar index 104.32. That's down. And the VIX is up about 0.50% after spiking, I think, about 25% yesterday. Crude oil is down this morning, 1.5%. All commodities taking a hit, even with the dollar being down 2% on gold. You would think that's more of a safe haven. Nope, not this time. Silver down 5%. Copper, which is interesting, pulling back. Again, that might have some issue with semiconductor demand. And we know that copper is a big driver of construction, semiconductors, and what have you. So when the price of copper goes down, that's showing we either have too much supply or not enough demand. We did have durable goods orders today. That came in the flash number. So again, kind of pivoting with the copper thing. Durable goods orders down 6.6%. The estimate is 0.3%. This is the biggest monthly drop since March 2020. But there's a caveat. Excluding transports, autos, boats, all that stuff, airplanes, durable goods orders were actually up 0.5% versus the 0.2%. So we're seeing just softening auto demand for the most part. That's kind of the big driver of the pullback in durable goods orders. We saw Tesla's numbers. We just saw Constellation Brands. I forget. It's not Constellation Brands. Excuse me. Jeep and Chrysler and what have you. They had a drop in earnings as well and demand. Same with Ford. So we're seeing the automotive again. This is cyclical. Those are discretionary items. So they're taking a hit as maybe the consumer softening up. But in terms of we also had today jobless claims, and that came in less than expected. And the GDP number, again, big number, 2.8% over the 2% expectation. Pretty damn good. It's pretty good. So the question is, does the market react to that? Does it react in a positive way? So let's go ahead and get started. First thing I want to bring up is the Russell. And in comparison to the Nasdaq, as we know, the Russell is performing better. Right now, it is just chopping around. We are seeing a possible head and shoulders on the 1 hour, but if we break below 2200, then we're kind of in trouble here. I still like 2274 for the Russell to go higher. We talked about the Nasdaq. Yes. And unfortunately, I was talking about on Sunday that we would get some weakness. And I talked about the 50-day being support yesterday. That both sliced. So now we're below. We have an alert. I have an alert above 310. 310 would, to me, maybe indicate some kind of relief bounce. As you can see, we're not there. If we're looking at possible targets, again, the retest is 18,677 if we get there. I don't think we do personally, but I'm going to go over that this weekend in a little more detail in terms of what to expect in terms of the NASDAQ seasonality. August, it is very, very illiquid, let's just say, or low volume because of the summer. Do we get this kind of summer effect? Same as last year. If you guys remember and see in 2023, I talked about the mid-July, we started peaking a little bit, and then we fell down in August, September. So we want to be prepared for some kind of roadmap if we do kind of pull back. As of right now, all the calls that I had, Palantir, they all took a hit. The good news is that at least Marin Hood, I have some kind of earnings exposure. But we did open Apple yesterday, puts, and we are green on them. But they are for a little further out expiry. And we were down a little more earlier. So the goal is here, and we talked about it on the watch list as well, is really the retest of 199.84. That'd probably get us where NASDAQ wants to go in terms of its own retest. But if we're looking for continued weakness, around 210, but I have an alert at 216.95. So 215 would be my target today. Again, I'm just trying to maximize any kind of position we have open to make up for like Upstart, which took a hit, obviously. And Mara took a hit with Bitcoin. Bitcoin just took a hit today. And the last couple of days, all these commodities are down. So the Mara trade is probably not going to work out, but at least I have some kind of earnings exposure, like I said. So at least Apple at this moment is working fine for us. Again, we're holding that. Again, part of the watch list. It was an option signal. So again, just a very rough couple of days, but I'm trying to hope and see if Apple can get us around. We were at 25% yesterday. If anyone wanted to take it, they probably took it. But again, I'm holding these puts and we're looking pretty good so far. So it is for August. So we have some time. We actually have Apple exposure, Apple reports next week. So maybe we get to this 200 MA on the 4 hour. Maybe we break down a little more. Let's take a look at the Nasdaq short term and see. All right, let's take a look here. I had a daily on. My apologies. Let's go to 4 hour. There we go. So 310, again, we'll use that as our main resistance for now. But you could see just a breakdown of trend line. Again, to me, just looks like this is going to be targeted into August, September, possibly. Again, we do have big earnings next week. AMD reports, Apple reports, I think Meta and Microsoft as well. So again, all of this is very fluid. The lower we go, when we get earnings, it's going to be a little easier to have a positive reaction since we're kind of front running a lot of this possible weakness in terms of the earnings for these big cap tech companies. And again, I'm focusing on those because they're the ones we usually trade and they're the big market movers. But again, with that being said, we're looking for opportunities as we go along, embrace volatility, crazy day. And we talked about the seasonal weakness. I personally thought we would get some kind of pullback on Monday. But Monday we soared, and that was a kind of a fake out in the sense as we pulled back into Wednesday. You could say that the Tesla earnings was kind of the accelerator, possibly. But let's take a look at Tesla together. It has filled the gap at 213.46. So that's a good news. We can take that away. But again, I'm looking to see for a possibility of a bounce. I'm going to put the alert at 226.50. That would confirm for me the breakout again of, again, I'm not trying to get into it yet. It's going to be the watch list this week. If we can get above 226.50, then I want to go ahead and see if we can play along and get back to around 237 or so. But again, we're back in this channel. We still have possible downside risk, but at least we filled this gap that we spoke about before. So again, Tesla did pull back post earnings. I did not trade it, but I did expect it to fall. Again, the idea, if I knew that we were going to flush yesterday like that on Wednesday, right all day, then yeah, I would have traded Tesla puts for sure. I would have gotten to those Microsoft puts from the watch list, Google. But again, the volume was just not there. And the big majority of the move was overnight. So can't catch them all. But the idea is to kind of reassess, see what's happening, and then position yourself forward. Masterclass and I have AMD puts, the 145s, and that was absolutely terrible to look at. That was tough. You could see here, this is the 22nd. This is Monday. AMD is above the 200 DMA in the moment, but still below the trend line. Let's see how the session goes. But Nasdaq soared out of the gate with the chips. My bear bias this week isn't looking as good right now. And I say this is a dead cat bounce personally. So far, it looks good. I still am holding AMD, so I'm not doing any kind of victory lap. It's for Friday expiry. Yeah, this is masterclass stuff. So the goal here is just to get to 140.94. That's the 786 fib line on AMD. If my masterclass traders are watching, and it's this retest here. This is the lows for May. Once we get there, I'm looking to see a relief bounce, and we could target the 200 day. So again, let's see if we get additional weakness, and we could take advantage of it. And let's answer some questions. Good morning. Good morning. What happened to the Aussie USD pair? So Aussie is very tied to, well, it's kind of tied to commodities. So like gold, for example, they do a lot of gold mining. When gold, for example, copper, they also mine copper over there. When these commodities fall, the Aussie is going to be affected. So the dollar is bouncing relative or being stronger relative to other forex pairs, but the one that's actually gaining the most has been the dollar yen of all pairs. Remember, this thing was, let's see how high this was. What, 161, 162, probably a little higher. Yeah, 162, and it just came back down to 154. It retested and is bouncing. Very similar to what is possibly the expectation if we get a little more weakness into Nasdaq. And you could see this right here. This is your fib, and then you have just perfect test and a possible bounce. Same thing, 100% retrace, maybe 18,677. Again, I'll go into more of a strategy on the weekend when we have a little more time. But as of right now, I'm going to keep my resistance at 19,310. It's pretty much short the rip until we break that. And then maybe we can possibly talk about looking to see if we can check out some quick hits on terms of calls or, stuff like that where we get some kind of relief. But as of right now, again, yes, the Nasdaq is green this morning, but not by much. It was up higher this evening. So there was one more I wanted to look at. We had Nasdaq. I think I said RTY. Let's take a look at S&P quickly, and that's on the 50-day. So again, that needs to be reclaimed. Right now, it is flat. That's right. I know exactly what I wanted to talk about. Sorry, Nasdaq. One more time. Here's the weekly MA. Weekly. This is the 20-week moving average, 18,867. If we are going lower, that is going to be your next target. That's what I'm looking for, anyways. Again, I'll go into detail on the weekend. Um, Microsoft. Remember, Microsoft, I believe, reports next week. So you're paying, if you're going to trade this for next week, it's going to cost you. So just a heads up. We're right on the 100-day moving average. Remember this right here? This is the little oval I had for us to retest here, $400. If we can get to $400, that'd be great. That'd be a nice buy opportunity going to the end of the year. So, but I wouldn't get into anything ahead of earnings at the moment. No. At least let me get Apple first. Amazon buy here in the long term. Amazon's holding up. I do like Amazon. Microsoft is great, but again, I just want a better price. Again, let's go shopping on Black Friday, some kind of sale. So again, I had this oval before, $400. If we can get $30 more, that'd be nice. That would be a nice buy zone. In terms of Amazon, what are you looking for? A buy zone. This is a breakdown here. It's holding up. A little tough. I would say wait on earnings. If you can get to around 170, that'd be great. Bear flag formation, AMD. AMD 140.94 is what I'm looking for. I don't know in what regard you're looking at the bear flag. I assume you're looking at it, the 4-hour? Moving higher and then pulls back, maybe? That's what you're looking for? Or this one right here? Yeah, I mean, again, I have a support here of 140.94. I have this with masterclass students, and it's for tomorrow expiry. This thing was down 90% on Monday, so this was not an easy hold. Obviously, I don't want it to flip for these guys, so this is my target, 140.94. I'll leave a runner for tomorrow just in case we have a meltdown, but that's my support moving forward. So we're really close. I mean, we're not red that much either. That's what's kind of concerning. I have Mara 1886. Yep. I mean, I have Mara too, and that thing sunk. And that's with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is down. That's not going to help. So we're down about 40 cents. The good news is that we have at least some exposure to Mara's earnings, and we'll see what they have. Maybe that gives us some kind of jolt. But all of this, guys, was the last couple of days. Yesterday's meltdown and then Tuesday. So it's just not going to be an easy trek holding it. But Bitcoin is still above the trend line. So these are volatile names, the Maras, the Palantirs, the Robinhoods. They're the ones that have the highest return quickly. But when it chops, it's just hair pulling. And that's just how it goes. So I'm not going to make any major decisions at this juncture. I mean, we haven't even opened. So again, my focus is on Apple today in terms of just getting that, getting it for the week, because it's been just a tough one. And again, guys, shorting, unless you were short Wednesday afternoon, or excuse me, Tuesday afternoon before Tesla's earnings, before Google's earnings, it wasn't easy. If you would have shorted during the day, sure, but that wasn't an easy proposition either. So again, we just had that pull down rather quickly. Then you had the overnight. So you kind of have to catch it pretty perfectly. That was one of the few days that we actually had some continuation. Let's see, SPY levels to the downside. Let's look at it. Again, Bitcoin is still in its trend. Ugly today, but still in its trend. SPY's right on the 50-day. That needs to break. And you have a slight gap at 537. So that would be your downside level. Let's take a look at Meta. Meta reports too. So again, be careful. That's going to be expensive. You can see that trend line break. Very similar to Amazon. Very similar to all these other names. It's almost like they're moving together because it's like ETFs. 450 would be your next target short term. That is the bottom end right here. This support that we bounced off this last trend line. And you have a gap to fill from earnings, guys, at 400. So that still has not been filled. Oh, that zoomed in rather quickly right there. Here's your gap fill, 401. So first downside support, 452. next, again, possibly with earnings would be right here at 401. But again, I'll go over it in more detail this weekend. And I think I have it. Is this to buy the dip yet? No, it's nice, but it's not enough, in my opinion. And again, guys, this is seasonality. It's been the same. We've talked about it over and over. And the 17th, technically speaking, is the peak or peak of stocks. And that pretty much coincided. We're in the 18th, the 19th, the 20th. We are what? The 25th? Here's the 25th right there. This is historically speaking since 1950. Here's the 25th. Prepared for tomorrow, maybe into Monday, a little bit of strength, maybe one more dip into Tuesday. And then at the end of the month, we usually, historically speaking, get a little bit of a relief or a pop. So again, this is the weak part of the month. We've been saying first 2 weeks, we had to take advantage, and we did. The last 2 weeks have been rather but we have August expiries, at least on options. So we'll see what we get moving forward. That's for sure. And the goal really is to have some volatility because that's opportunity, really. So when things start moving, that's really when the money's made, if you're right. All right, guys, we'll leave it there. Have a great rest of your morning. I will catch you guys on the Discord server. We hope to see you there. All the news and information, everything you need, right over here on the live market blog, scrolling on the bottom. Thanks again for your support and watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Cheers, all.